Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Danielson. I am the Manager of Product Strategy and Public Relations for Genesis Motors Canada, and it's my pleasure to be here with you today live from the Montreal International Auto Show, where we just this morning hosted the Canadian debut of the all-new Genesis G70. This is our newest model, joining the mid-size G80 and full-size G90 in our sedan lineup. And really, this car is going to attract an entirely different type of buyer to the Genesis brand. One of the reasons I am so excited about it is this car was designed and engineered from the ground up with drivers in mind. So today, what we're going to do is give you a sneak peek at all the cool little details of the car. We're going to do a detailed walk around and look at all of the great high performance features that will appeal to driving enthusiasts. And I'm also going to take a few moments to answer questions that we've already received through Facebook and Instagram. And if there are any other questions, please feel free to submit them in the comments. We have people on standby who will feed those questions to me, and I am happy to answer them for you live right here at the Montreal Auto Show. So we're going to start from the front of the vehicle. The car that we have with us here today is the Genesis G70 in 3.3T Sport trim. So this is our top spec car that combines all of the car's available performance features with all of the available luxury equipment for a truly all-encompassing experience. Of course, when we look at the front of a vehicle, the first thing we think of is what's under the hood. Under this aluminum hood, we have a twin turbocharged 365 horsepower V6 engine with 376 pound-feet of torque from just 1,350 RPM. Thanks to the car's standard launch control system, we have ferocious acceleration and exceptional mid-range torque. Needless to say, you will never be lacking in passing power with this vehicle. From a styling point of view, the car has the same bold crest-type grille that we've seen on other Genesis models like the G80 Sport, and it's flanked by these thin LED headlights with two LED daytime running elements, a main LED projector, and in the case of this Sport model, a black headlight housing with copper bezel accents. So that is unique to the Sport models. The grille itself is dark chrome, matched by an accent in the lower front bumper. And for those who might be wondering what this light is down in the bottom, these are the turn signals for the vehicle. All primary lighting functions are actually done up here in the main headlight housing. If we look at the design of the hood itself, we have these strong bulges in the hood that can actually be seen from the driver's seat. So as you sit there, you look over that really cool hood, and it gives you a sense of the power that's found underneath. So if we continue around the strongly chiseled front bumper, we are now going to see these beautiful 19-inch 5-spoke Sport alloy wheels with a dark finish. Hiding behind the wheel is a 4-piston fixed Brembo brake caliper, and the wheel itself is wrapped in a high-performance Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tire. These things are like flypaper. They are exceptionally grippy, and on top of that, they're also very quiet and refined. So we've covered what we have in terms of go, cornering, and stop, which brings us a little bit more to the interior and the side profile of the vehicle. On the fender, we see a boomerang accent with a vent integrated into it. We see these lovely side mirrors that almost seem to float on a shard of metal. So from some angles, they look like they're not even attached to the car. This is one of the coolest styling elements in my opinion. We see the nice sweeping roofline that has a very steep rake to it, giving the car a very planted stance, making it look like it's very athletic and a lean, mean driving machine. If I open the door, the first thing that will catch your attention is likely to be the lovely quilted leather on both the door panel and on the seat itself. So these are Napa leather quilted sport seats with 16 different adjustments to tailor the comfort to your personal specification. The steering wheel itself is a Sport Grip 3-spoke steering wheel with shift paddles integrated onto the wheel, very easy to access. The wheel itself has perforated leather around the extremity with contrast stitching that matches what's on the doors, the seats, and even the dashboard. So if you look closely, you'll see that a stitching line runs across the top of the dashboard, and it even wraps around the entire center console, which itself is angled towards the driver so that everything is easier to see. Other cool things that we can look at here: the car has performance gauges, so we have oil temperature readout, torque, turbo boost pressure, we can get lap timer, and we even have a G meter for the vehicle. On the central display, if I switch between the various drive modes, we get a graphic showing us what drive mode we're in. So we have, beginning on the left, we have the Smart mode, which adapts based on your driving preferences. We have the Eco mode, which is more efficient. We have a comfort mode, which is tailored for those long commutes in heavy traffic. And then we get to the interesting stuff. Sport mode firms up the suspension, sharpens the steering, quickens the throttle response, and sends more torque to the rear of the all-wheel drive system. And in the case of this sport model with adjustable side bolsters, even tightens the side bolsters of the seat to hold me firmly in place as I go through the corners. And finally, for those who want to custom tailor everything themselves, there is a custom setting where you can go through each individual parameter and adjust it to your personal preferences. So needless to say, the cabin of this G80 Sport is a great environment for the task at hand, which is driving, and the car itself is designed with drivers in mind thanks to its powerful engine, exceptional brakes, and Nürburgring-tuned chassis. Other cool things that we can look at here, I mentioned that there's the quilted leather on the door. There's also this lovely brushed aluminum trim on the door panels, which is also matched around the gear shift and the drive mode control functions in the center of the vehicle. If I get the cameraman to look inside and up, what we'll see is a black micro suede headliner, very, very soft and nice to touch, and this large wide type sunroof that lets light easily flow into the cabin and make everything feel very open and airy. So that's a look at the front of the car. If we look into the back seat, we'll see the same lovely quilted Napa leather, and in the case of this model, we have heated rear seats for those to make sure that your rear seat occupants are just as comfortable as the ones in the front, and the same quilting pattern that carries throughout the seats. Now, speaking of the other performance attributes of the car, G70 comes equipped standard with an advanced active all-wheel drive system that is completely adjustable. So the system will always send power to all four wheels with a preference for the rear axle of the car. So between 60 and 70% of the torque goes to the rear axle in normal drive mode. In Sport, up to 90% of the power goes to the rear, meaning you get the best of both worlds. A car that feels like it drives like a rear-wheel drive vehicle with very pointy dynamics, but you still have the flexibility of all-weather traction. Moving closer to the back, we see these lovely wraparound taillights with LED elements integrated into them. We have the name of the vehicle on one side of the trunk lid. We have the Genesis wing logo in the center, and then we have a designation for the engine, which in this case is the twin turbocharged 3.3-liter V6. And finally, out back of this V6 model, we have a very cleanly integrated rear diffuser with twin exhaust outlets, and fun fact, the diffuser is actually functional, helping draw out air from under the car and reduce pressure along the rear of the vehicle. So the whole car was designed and engineered, as I mentioned, to be fun to drive. Part of that was tuning that we did at the Nürburgring Nordschleife in Germany, which is one of the world's most demanding racing circuits. By ensuring that G70 has the performance credentials to operate effectively in such a demanding environment, we can guarantee that the car will always be ready for whatever you can throw at it on your favorite twisty road or even your daily commute through the city. So with that, I'm now going to open the floor to questions. I've already got a couple of them, and I'd like to go through them for a few minutes, and then after that we can get into some of the other little details and any other questions that come in. So starting, John Song asks, how much will the G70 sell for? Pricing has not yet been announced, but we do expect the G70 to be very competitively priced with the cars it's benchmarked against, like the BMW 3 Series, the Mercedes-Benz C-Class, and the Audi A4. We did launch a pre-order for the vehicle today, so if you go to genesis.ca, you can place a fully refundable deposit, customize your own vehicle, and schedule an at-home delivery when the cars arrive this spring, and pricing will be available before the arrival of vehicles so that customers can make a final informed decision. So the next question I've received is from Reed. He wants to know if the control arms, the subframe, and other underside goodies are in aluminum, and that's a very good question. Weight reduction was a huge focus in the development of this vehicle. Many of the car's components, like the hood or like most of the suspension components, are aluminum to save weight. So the car in the Canadian market will weigh as little as 1,673 kilograms, and in top spec form, it will come in at just over 1,800 kilograms. So the car will have a very, very strong power to weight ratio. I have a question here from Ray, who's asking what the overall length of the vehicle is, and in his opinion, it's better that the car be under 186 inches, which I guess I don't disagree with. So the car is 4,685 millimeters long, or in imperial units, 184.4 inches long. So yes, Ray, the car is under 186 inches. It has very, very tidy dimensions. Carl wants to know what formats are going to be available, so I'm going to guess that that means which variations. So here's where we're going to get to some of the exciting stuff. The entry-level 2.0T Advanced, very, very well equipped. As I mentioned, it'll have standard all-wheel drive. It has a 2-liter turbocharged engine with 252 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. And all of the available driver assistance technologies like Ford Collision Avoidance Assist, Lane Keep Assist, Adaptive Cruise Control, and so on are standard equipment even in the entry-level 2.0T Advanced. The next model up is the one that's nearest and dearest to my heart, which is the special G70 2.0T Sport. This is a model designed to offer a pure driving experience, and that starts with the same 2-liter turbocharged engine, power going exclusively to the rear axle, and in the middle, a classic 6-speed manual gearbox with 3 pedals. So for drivers who want that pure experience, we'll have this Sport model, which not only has the manual gearbox, but all of the available Sport package components. So the Sport appearance package itself is primarily differentiated by the dark chrome exterior trim, these beautiful 5-spoke wheels, the Brembo brake calipers, and then in terms of performance features, we have a mechanical limited slip differential for the rear axle, and then all of the various Sport interior components, including those adjustable bolsters in the seats. Beyond that, we will have 2 variations of the 2-liter automatic model above that, the 2.0T Elite, which has all of the core luxury features, and the 2.0 Prestige, which is the gray car that we have behind us on the floor here. And this one would have a couple of extra things like quilted Napa leather seats, like the adaptive cornering system for the LED headlights, the 360-degree camera system, and so on. And then above that, finally, we have 2 versions of the V6. The base 3.3T Dynamic is very well equipped with 18-inch wheels, with genuine leather interior, and with a lot of the great technologies that you would expect. But really, the showstopper will be this top-spec 3.3T Sport that combines all of the available luxury features with all of the car's performance equipment, as I mentioned. So that's the lineup, 6 different versions offering a wide range of different experiences depending on your budget and your personal preferences. So my next question is from William. William wants to know why we don't yet have a sports coupe and we're focusing on a sporty driving experience with a 4-door sedan, which is a perfectly fair question. Historically, 2-door coupe vehicles have been a little bit sportier, and Genesis will have a 2-door sport coupe we expect by the year 2021 following the launch of our SUVs. That being said, the G70, despite its 4-door, fairly practical packaging, will be an exceptional sports sedan and offer a truly engaging driving experience. So whether it has 2 doors or 4 doors, you are going to have fun in this car, I guarantee it. The next question from William as well is, why isn't the panoramic sunroof standard on some of our models? That's probably referring to our G90. Our G90 is a vehicle that only has a standard sunroof, and the reason for that is the G90 was designed to be as quiet as possible. And in order to achieve that goal, the G90 has a special laser brazed roof, and that is really focused on reducing the noise inside the cabin of the car and making it as quiet as possible. We have a question about if we have any plans on bringing a rear-wheel drive coupe model to the country. Well, I mentioned that we don't have the coupe for a little while, but we will have that special manual rear-wheel drive model in the G70 available for customers seeking that type of experience. We have a question from Darren asking if there's going to be dealerships. Yes, there is. So not only does Genesis sell vehicles completely online, we also offer what we call our Genesis at Home service. You can book an at-home test drive for your vehicle, and if you'd like to purchase the car, we can do the entirety of the transaction from the comfort of your home. Following purchase, if you'd like anything done maintenance-wise to the vehicle, not only is the maintenance included in the price of the vehicle for 5 years, but we will come to your home, retrieve your vehicle, and then leave you a courtesy car while we're working on your vehicle and doing its oil change. So that's the 2 key components of Genesis, but we will also be adding showrooms. So we already have Genesis downtown in the east part of downtown Toronto. Tomorrow, we are opening Genesis Mississauga in the Square One Mall. And here in the Montreal area, we will have 2 boutiques this spring. Genesis Laval in the Carrefour Laval Mall in the northern part of the city, and Genesis Centreville located at the intersection of Bourassa and Wellington in Griffintown in downtown Montreal. So yes, we have dealerships coming, and we will have more in the years to come. And Tumalian Michael wants to know about the GV80. So the GV80, we'll talk a little bit more about at the Toronto Auto Show coming up in February. The GV80 is a concept vehicle that we developed to give a look into the future of what a Genesis SUV might look like. So I won't get into too much detail there today, but suffice to say it's a very cool looking vehicle, and I look forward to talking more about it at the Toronto Auto Show. Another question has just come in, if you'll bear with me for a second here. Justin asks if there are any special color options. That is a fantastic question. The car that we see here today is painted in the very bright Majorca blue with the contrasting red brake calipers. G70 is available in 10 different exterior colors, including some pretty exciting options. One of my favorites is what we're calling Nürburgring green. It looks almost gray in certain lighting conditions, but when you shine light on it, a hit of green comes out of the metallic. We also have Havana Red, which is a really deep twin-stage red. Actually, on the G80 Sport right next to me here, this is the same Havana Red that we will offer on the G80 Sport. I would highly recommend customers who want the Havana Red on G80 Sport select the red brake calipers with the available red interior stitching. So if we look at the interior of this vehicle, we see that all of the contrast stitching is gray. We also have an available red stitched interior for the Sport models. The color combination options continue inside the vehicle, where we have 7 different interior color combinations to suit your needs. We've got your basic black interior with contrast piping and stitching in gray. We have a 2-tone gray interior for somebody who wants something a little bit brighter. And then we get really interesting. We have a velvet burgundy interior that has a burgundy dashboard with black seats featuring contrasting burgundy elements. I would encourage everybody to look on our website at genesis.ca. You can get a look at what that would look like inside the car. It is really different, but it offers something that you won't see anywhere else in the industry today. We have the beautiful caramel brown leather, which is available in the 2.0T Prestige that's behind me here. Stay tuned for videos that are going to be posted on our Facebook page. We have lots of close-up shots of the interior of that car. The final standard interior color combination is vanilla beige, which has white leather seats, headliner, carpets, and even the steering wheel, with a forest green contrasting dashboard and upper door panels. Again, something unlike anything else that you'll find in the industry today, and certainly unprecedented in this class of car. Finally, the Sport models that we've already talked about all have black Napa leather interior with the micro suede headliner and the contrasting gray or red stitching. So some of the other cool things that we can talk about with the G70 that are common to the rest of the Genesis lineup are things like the head-up display. So several models of G70 have a head-up display that projects key driving information onto the windshield. Whether it's your speed, navigation directions, or even blind spot detection indicators, you can get that reflected in a translucent form right on the windshield, ensuring that you keep your eyes on the road ahead and don't get distracted by looking down at the dashboard. We also have Apple Carplay and Android Auto available in this vehicle, so you can plug your phone in, and a variety of great features from your smartphone can be pulled onto the dashboard of the car. And one of the coolest things that we're going to have is called Genesis Connected Services. With Genesis Connected Services, which comes standard in the G70 with 5 years of service, you can, through your phone, remote start your vehicle. You can preset the climate control. You can help find it in a parking lot using the GPS map. You can even get diagnostic reports pushed to your vehicle. And in the unfortunate event of a collision, the system will automatically dial emergency services if you need assistance. So that will be standard in all the cars, and stay tuned for more on that before the launch of the vehicle. Got a few more questions coming in here. Ryan asks if we have a high-performance version of the vehicle coming, or a high-performance model line. That's a very good question, and the best way I can cover that is to say never say never. We don't have any plans currently to have a high-performance division, and needless to say, this 3.3T Sport with a 0 to 60 time of under 5 seconds in launch control is going to give you a pretty broad performance envelope. That being said, in the future of the Genesis brand, we will start to look at other things that we can do to improve our customer offering. things like electrification, things like higher performing models. The next question that I have is from Joe, is to tell us more about the suspension tuning in North America. Another great question. We've sometimes talked to the media about how cars sold in different markets, like in the home market in Korea, have different suspension calibrations. The car for the North American market has been tuned with the needs of the segment in mind. We have market research that tells us that customers in the compact luxury sedan segment really value a car that's fun to drive, that has good road holding capability and feels like it's responsive to your every control input. The G70 suspension has been tuned with exactly that in mind. The car rides on a multi-link independent suspension, 5 links front, 5 links rear, and in the case of the sport model, the 3.3T, we even have adaptive damping linked to the drive mode system. So no matter which G70 you get, from the entry-level 2.0T Advanced right up to the top spec 3.3T Sport, you will have a very sharp driving experience. The journalists will get to drive the car and write about it hopefully in the next couple of months. I can say that I have driven the car myself, and I was absolutely thrilled with the balance they've achieved in terms of the car's handling sharpness without compromising its ride comfort. So I have another couple of questions coming into me here now. Justin asks, what type of fuel does it take? Is higher octane required? Another very good question. We do recommend use of premium fuel with both engines for maximum performance, but as with any Genesis model, the car will run just fine on regular fuel, albeit with slightly diminished horsepower. We don't have the specifics on that as of yet, but expect a slight drop from the 252 horsepower in the entry-level engine and the 365 horsepower in the twin-turbo V6. So, with that, I think we've covered a lot of great things on the car. As I mentioned, in the weeks to come, we're going to be posting more videos on YouTube from here at the Montreal Auto Show, where we do a deep dive into a lot of the great characteristics of the vehicle. We'll also have the car at the Toronto Auto Show alongside the GV80 concept, and every subsequent Canadian auto show thereafter between now and the middle part of April, when we end the circuit at the Edmonton Auto Show. I'm very pleased to be here today to answer all of your questions for you. Please feel free to submit any other questions you have through our Facebook page. We'd be more than happy to answer them after the live stream is ended. So thank you once again for your time today, and I can't wait to tell you more about the exciting new Genesis G70 in the months to come.